I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
My entrepreneurs, all my hustlers, do not think that you're the only one that's having a hard time, okay? I'm having a hard time at my level.
Sean Combs has been under fire for decades, with 50 Cent taking shots at him since the 90s, but things have escalated to an entirely new level. Word on the street is that 50 has cracked the code behind Diddy's bizarre pizza box ramblings and Cryptic plastic nonsense from jail, and it's not looking good for the bad boy mogul. With the kind of tea 50 is about to spill, it's no surprise that Diddy's legal team is in turmoil. His frustrated lawyer just quit, and let's face it, Diddy's future is looking less like shiny suits and more like orange jumpsuits as allegations mount, including serious accusations of sexual misconduct and witness tampering. Diddy seems to be pulling every desperate string imaginable to turn the tide of his legal woes. Prosecutors allege that he's been breaking prison rules left and right, using other inmates' phone accounts and three-way calls to reach out to potential witnesses. The audacity doesn't stop there. Reports claimed Diddy has even contacted victims in an attempt to rewrite the narrative and persuade them to retract their statements. While third-party calls aren't shocking in the celebrity world, Diddy's moves appear to be digging him into an even deeper hole, ensuring that his stay behind bars might be a long one. The drama is sizzling though. The streets are buzzing, and while no one else is talking about it, we've got every juicy detail right here. Instead of helping his case, Diddy's alleged underhanded tactics have spectacularly backfired. Prosecutors now have even more incriminating evidence against him thanks to these questionable phone calls. To make matters worse, one of these calls has leaked online, igniting a firestorm of speculation and frenzy across social media. The internet is ablaze, and media outlets are swarming the story like sharks in a feeding frenzy. Diddy's brazen moves have not only made headlines, but have also strengthened the prosecution's case against him. Armed with evidence of obstruction, prosecutors are adding even more weight to the pile of allegations he's already facing.
Third-party calling has been done in probably 90% of the cases that I have. In fact, sometimes third-party calling to me.
It's a textbook case of digging your own grave, and Diddy seems to be doing it with a shovel. He crafted himself. What started as an attempt to control the narrative has spiraled into a full-blown media firestorm, leaving his legal team scrambling and his reputation in tatters. The drama doesn't end there. Reports indicate that a notebook seized from Diddy's jail cell allegedly contains information pointing to obstruction of justice, while his defense team argues that the notes are protected under attorney-client privilege. The court isn't buying it just yet. The stakes are rising, and this unfolding saga shows no signs of cooling down. Diddy's latest moves are so wild they're almost unbelievable, but it's all playing out right before our eyes despite sitting in lockup. With restrictions tighter than a drum, he's reportedly been busy making calls, dragging his own kids into his legal mess. And no, these aren't the heartwarming "how are you son" type of calls. Allegedly, Diddy has been orchestrating a full-blown cleanup mission from behind bars, asking his sons to handle evidence and clean up his mess. The kicker: one of those calls leaked online, and the internet is in a frenzy. The leaked audio has everyone raising eyebrows because of his kids even think about tampering with evidence. They could face obstruction charges themselves. It's a desperate gamble on Diddy's part, but it's coming at the expense of his children's futures. Reckless, selfish, and downright jaw-dropping. This saga just keeps getting messy.
You're in custody. Your phone calls can and will be recorded. Obviously, you and I, out as free people, we have rights that prevent that from happening. You need a warrant, you need a wiretap or something like that. You don't need that when you're in prison.
But it gets worse. To cover his tracks, Diddy's camp has been spinning a sob story for the mainstream media, painting him as a devoted father on the brink of a mental breakdown, heartbroken over being separated from his kids. They've been feeding lines like to them: "He's not Diddy, he's dad," and the tearjerker: "He's very concerned about his kids' well-being." Concerned about his kids, huh? If the leaked audio is anything to go by, Diddy seems far more focused on saving himself than protecting his children. This transparent attempt at damage control is raising eyebrows and further fueling the fire surrounding his controversial actions. That doesn't exactly scream devoted dad, does it? In fact, it seems like Diddy is prioritizing his own survival over everything else, even if it means setting up his sons for legal trouble. It's a gamble that could destroy their futures, all for a desperate shot at walking free. Meanwhile, the prison is treating him like any other detainee awaiting trial. Insiders have revealed that his initial placement on self-harm watch was simply a precautionary measure standard protocol for someone with his public profile, no special treatment, no get-out-of-jail-free card, just the harsh reality of the situation he's created for himself.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes.
The bottom line, Diddy might think he's playing a clever game, but dragging his kids into this mess isn't just risky, it's downright cruel, and judging by how things are unraveling, it's a gamble that's bound to backfire spectacularly. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is proving that patience and persistence pay off. For years, he's been the one voice calling out Diddy Combs, planting seeds of doubt, and letting time expose the truth. Now, as Diddy faces the most serious allegations of his career, 50 steps into the spotlight, not just as a rapper, but as someone who's been warning the world all along.
We gonna let them have a little fun, but I'm still gonna have a laugh.
And let's be honest, minus 50 Cent isn't just talking, he's orchestrating a masterclass in timing. He's been on the sidelines watching Diddy's empire show cracks, and now he's capitalizing on the moment, delivering what looks like a knockout blow to Diddy's career. In a recent conversation, 50 didn't mince words. It seems like I'm doing some extremely outrageous things, but I haven't, he said. And he's right, he hasn't. All he's done is speak his truth, calling out Diddy's questionable behavior long before it hit the headlines. Now, as the news catches up with what he's been saying for years, it's clear that 50 was always onto something. He elaborated, "It's really me just saying what I've been saying for 10 years now. It's becoming more full-F facing in the news with the puffy stuff, but away from that, I'm like, yo, it's just my perspective, because I've stayed away from that stuff the entire time. This isn't just about a long-standing feud, it's about a man trusting his instincts and watching the truth unfold on its own timeline." 50 Cent has played the long game, and it's paying off in ways that are making headlines now more than ever. 50 Cent has kept his distance from the lifestyle Diddy embraced, one marked by excess controversy and, as recent allegations suggest, potentially illegal activities. "This is not my style," 50 said, and it shows. While Diddy is preparing for trial, 50 is gearing up for his NDA Club Las Vegas residency, thriving and unbothered. Their rivalry runs deep, dating back to 2006 when 50 dropped the diss track The Bomb, accusing Diddy of involvement in the murder of Notorious Big. From vodka brand feuds to public spats, these two have clashed for decades, but now it's bigger than music or business, it's about legacy. 50 is ensuring Diddy's alleged actions don't quietly fade into history. The irony is striking. While Diddy's team scrambles for damage control, 50's career is soaring to new heights. It's almost as if fate is handing 50 the last laugh, and with his trademark blend of humor and sharp commentary, you can bet he'll favor every moment. Diddy's empire, once built on fame and fortune, is now crumbling under the weight of over 20 lawsuits and damning allegations ranging from sexual assault to exploitative practices. Each new case piles on more damaging testimony, creating an overwhelming pattern of alleged predatory behavior that's impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is proving that truth and patience eventually rise to the surface, while Diddy's legal team struggles to keep up with the mounting claims. 50 is thriving, his career hitting new height, and his long-standing warnings about Diddy now echoing louder than ever. The glitter of Diddy's once dominant empire is fading fast, leaving behind a legacy tarnished by controversy and scandal. Legal experts agree that the consistency and similarity of these allegations spanning decades present a nearly insurmountable challenge for Diddy's defense. It's no longer about isolated incidents or misunderstandings, rather it paints a clear picture of systemic abuse and a calculated misuse of power, wealth, and influence to prey on vulnerable individuals. This growing pattern of behavior is turning the tide in the case against him, leaving his legal team with an increasingly difficult battle to fight. Even with Diddy's attorney repeatedly denying the allegations, their statements are starting to sound hollow as the evidence continues to pile up. High-profile figures like R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, and Bill Cosby have shown that when the floodgates of victims open, it's nearly impossible for the accused to recover their reputation, let alone evade legal consequences. The allegations against Diddy go beyond criminal charges, with reports of freak-offs where he allegedly coerced women to stay compliant, alongside his disturbing obsession with filming these encounters. This has drawn comparisons to some of the most notorious predators in history. Attorney Tony Busby's revelation that he represents over 120 men and women Alleging violent sexual assault only adds fuel to the fire. The staggering number underscores the breadth of Diddy's alleged actions and the far-reaching consequences for his legacy. Allegedly, the federal authorities have obtained compromising videos from Diddy's mansion, which could expose further misconduct. Courtney Burgess, a close friend of Diddy's late ex-wife Kim Porter, has reportedly handed over 8 additional tapes to the FBI and has already been called to testify before a grand jury. These developments have intensified the scrutiny around Hollywood elites, leaving many anticipating what might come to light next.
Statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know.
Appeared to be.
Every celebrity, politician, athlete, CEO, and producer connected to Diddy and alleged to be complicit in his actions is reportedly on the verge of being exposed.
Right. Or appears. Let me rephrase it based on yes. Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were reported having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appear to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all. To be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah.
meaning this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof there was in it, but it was doing.
The potential arrests are expected to send shockwaves through Hollywood, bringing much-needed attention to a long-standing culture of misconduct in the industry. This issue has persisted for decades, with even veteran actors like Tom Hanks speaking out about the prevalence of individuals like Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein.
The idea that there are sexual predators in power, not just in Hollywood, but I think in all across any place there's a boss with underlings in any corporation or any industry, you have a type of sexual politics that goes on that can slide in between appropriate ethics and decorum to, inappropriate behavior to the point of harassment and sexual predatory behavior.
Well, I mean, I think people understand that. But the larger question is there a culture of complicity in Hollywood where women are afraid to speak up, so they'll be blacklisted.
The discussion highlights the pervasive fear and silence in Hollywood, where both women and men hesitate to speak out. Women are often afraid to voice their concerns due to the risk of being blacklisted, while men remain silent either from the same fear or because they believe it's simply the way the system operates. There are individuals who argue that this is just how the industry functions, that the power dynamics are the foundation of success. However, complicity is equally harmful, as those who are aware of these practices and choose to ignore or justify them are also responsible for maintaining this broken system.
They're afraid to speak up because either they're out of the same fear or they just think this is the way the system works.
I think there are people that say, hey, this is how it works, pure and simple, and this is why I got into it, and this is why I have power. This is how it works, and you have to understand that. That does not carry the day.
With 3 dozen civil lawsuits now on the way and Tony B outlining the abuse that occurred in Hollywood due to Diddy and his alleged co-conspirators, it seems like justice may finally be served. The accusations against Diddy are especially disturbing, involving minors as young as 7 years old, like Demi Moore. These minors were reportedly provided to Diddy by their parents. It's shocking that those who entrusted their children to such individuals appeared to turn a blind eye, driven by greed and a willingness to ignore the harm being caused.
To name people in these lawsuits, we're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. If they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate we're going to start filing lawsuits. It may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this that when a victim...
Tony Busby, speaking with Piers Morgan on Uncensored, addressed the gravity of the allegations, acknowledging that they are painful whether true or false. He emphasized that if the accusations are true, those involved should not have been in the room or participating in such acts. Busby also revealed that lawsuits are forthcoming, though the initial names may not be as high profile. However, they have a long list of individuals to investigate. He stressed the importance of thorough due diligence before filing, as public filings in the U.S. are accessible, and naming someone in a lawsuit inevitably brings media attention.
Tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated. We want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and we've named somebody in the lawsuit. The press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of it. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Another minor told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim.
In addressing the public, Tony Busby spoke about the disturbing allegations involving Diddy, describing an incident where an individual was reportedly picked up by a black SUV, given a drink, and later woke up with no memory of the events. Experiencing physical pain and injuries, this person was also found to be missing personal belongings, including their shoes and underwear, and was taken to the hospital for medical attention. Busby also mentioned another case involving an adult who allegedly attended a group dinner with Diddy and others, hinting at further troubling circumstances surrounding these situations. The allegations suggest that individuals like Demi Moore and Usher, who are accused of enabling Diddy's actions by allegedly allowing minors to be abused, are about to be exposed for their role in perpetuating these harmful behaviors. According to these claims, they are just as responsible as Diddy for the abuse, as their involvement allowed him to continue his alleged actions unchecked. The silence surrounding Diddy's power and the leverage he held over minors was reportedly supported by people like Moore and Usher, who are said to have used their influence to facilitate these abuses, contributing to a culture of misconduct in Hollywood.
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him up.
Arrest warrants are reportedly coming for everyone allegedly involved with Diddy, and many in Hollywood are said to be aware of this. As a result, some celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres have already moved abroad, with others like Ashton Kutcher preparing to testify. The looming legal battles, tapes, and testimonies have left many worried about the potential fallout this case could expose, a long, hidden network of power, privilege, and abuse that has persisted for decades, shedding light on troubling practices within the industry.
Hollywood were probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you're involved, you would get a call, because they're going to want to know everything you want to know, and they even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to...
On Live News with TMZ, it was reported that the U.S. Attorney's Office is actively investigating those who might be involved, stating that if individuals were connected to the case, they would likely receive a call. Authorities are expected to seek information from them and may even ask them to serve as witnesses. The statement emphasized that this case is just beginning to unfold, and the full scope of who will be impacted and involved is still being revealed. The investigation could potentially reach far and wide, affecting many within the industry.
Purpose of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve, and the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved. And usually the way this works is, once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them, and it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a slow developing case here because we're just getting started, and I don't see how this trial begins anytime before.
Due to the serious nature of the charges against Diddy, there is a strong possibility that the federal trial will not be televised. However, the ongoing civil cases are expected to expose everyone involved the only way those accused of abuse may avoid further repercussions is by settling out of court. With the victims, with over 200 verified victims reportedly coming forward, it seems likely that many high-profile celebrities could see their careers ruined as a result of these legal proceedings. And thanks for watching Celebrity Spill.